Hey everybody, as you can tell from this part up here, today we're talking about relationships, friendships, other ships while in medical school. One of the things that everybody struggles with in school life, just in general, is the ships of your life. The ships of your life are relationships, friendships, and any other kind of situationships um, that you may come across. So, thought I'd do a nice little video, maybe give you some of my perspective and some of my experience in this. I am by no means a relationship pro. Please don't take what I say as the gospel according to Mikkel for relationships, and please don't take it that I am a relationship expert because I am not. I am struggling with this just like everybody else. I just felt that it'd be a little bit different content and something fun to watch. All right, let's go through this. Okay. Friendships are anybody who you share a commonality with, be it a hobby or maybe you guys are a fan of something, or maybe you guys just get along. I don't know. Those are your friendships. Those are the people that you build the strongest rapport with on a general basis. Um, in med school, your friendships, they're kind of given to you by everybody you meet. Especially if, like me, you're going to a very small school where everybody knows everybody else. There's no real things such as privacy in relationships. Everybody knows who your friend group is. Everybody knows who you're involved with. Everybody knows who you like and don't like. It's just one of those things that are out there. The friends that you make while you're in school, uh, they'll last a lifetime. Though you may not talk to them every day, you will still be able to reach out to them when you need them. So just remember this quote: the people you meet in school are your long term career, moral, and the you need an ear system. So when times get tough because life is tough, those are the people you're going to reach out to outside of your normal circle of friends. And that all comes to working hard, study harder, and play hardest. In med school, depending on your med school, you may or may not be allowed to work. In my med school, we are not allowed to work. So making money is not part of the program. You're here to study, and when you're not studying, you're expected to go play. And though the playing part, it's very minimal, you really do play harder. Um, One example I can give you is that there are a bunch of islands around here, and a typical getaway is to go off of this island and go to another island. And for that whole time that you're gone, might be a day, might be 2 days, you're gonna do everything under the sun, and you're just not gonna study. I haven't done this yet. I typically stay home and study and do things here at home. Um, but a lot of my fellow students do this, and they have fun, but they really play hard. We do karaoke from time to time. That's always fun. I don't like karaoke because I sing terribly. I don't have the pipes for it, and I can't carry a tune. So, doing karaoke, it just doesn't end well. I don't mind singing backup when I can kind of blend into the audience, but I'm not going to be the one leading the song. Uh, you just got to get out there and have some fun. Don't forget, study guilt is a thing. So make sure that you have a group of people uh, that you can go out with and have a good time. Sometimes it'll be your main group of people, and sometimes it'll be your side group of people. Who knows what you're going through at the time, and you'll know who to call. We have our other ships. So in med school, it's one of those things where there's so much pressure to perform. The pressure to perform is so crazy high that a lot of relationships just don't end well. Um, Especially if they're intimate relationships, boyfriend, girlfriend, or um, maybe you guys are just having fun together. Sometimes the pressure from school supersedes that. 90% of the time, those relationships do not end well. So, in my school, there's a lot of um, people who are just out having fun, and they're not necessarily in a dedicated relationship, but they're kind of in a thing with somebody. And, sometimes that's what you gotta do. I'm not saying that I partake of this personally. Again, this is what I've observed. Uh, we all have certain needs, we all have certain wants, self fulfillment and being accepted by your peers. Those are all very high on the scale of needs for medical school. There are people who talk to me every day about how they wish they could have somebody in a dedicated relationship here in med school. A lot of it is not necessarily for the love aspect. A lot of it is just because it gets damn lonely here. Uh, you are isolated beyond belief. You have study guilt, which is a thing. Study guilt, for those of you who don't know, is a self imposed guilt that anything that you do that brings joy to you, maybe going to the gym, maybe even cooking, even taking a nap when you're tired, or sleeping at night, can actually make you feel guilty that you're not studying. And if you do study, you feel guilty because you're not doing those other things that you know you need to do. For example, your boy, I have chronic insomnia. I don't sleep. Maybe I get 4 hours on a long night, maybe 2 or 3 on a short night. And if I really have it bad, say we have finals coming up, I expect not to sleep. So the guilt comes from actually going to bed. My body needs rest. It needs to recover. Neural pathways need to be made. I won't have that. I will be exhausted, uh, but I will feel guilty for even taking a 10-minute nap because that's 10 minutes that I'm losing when I could be studying. This is a very terrible way of thinking, and it really did a number on me at the beginning of the term. Again, it's the pressure to perform. You want to do well, you want to get your money's worth, you want to prove that you know what you know, and the only way to do that is in the test. Doesn't matter if your professors feel you know everything. If you can't prove it, it doesn't matter. So, the advice that I've given everybody who's asked me, and I don't know why, but I'm the guy everyone talks to, and I don't mind. I don't mind helping people with their problems. I've been through a lot of things in my life, good, bad, and ugly. Uh, what I tell everybody is figure out what you really want versus what you need. And sometimes you need someone to come and hang out. Sometimes you need someone to just spend time with. And sometimes you need some other things. I'm not going to go into detail of what they are, but I'm sure you can figure it out. It really just depends on mentally where you're at. You'll have to figure it out when you get here. And lastly, relationships. You know, what kind of relationship are you going to have? And when I talk about relationships, I'm talking like intimate relationships, boyfriends, girlfriends, um, you know, your lovers, whatever you want to call it. And there's really kind of two ways you can look about it. There's the looking for love section, and then there's I'm here for a good time, not a long time. Um, this seems to be kind of how things venture uh, throughout the term. At the start of the term, everybody's having a good time. We're all kind of jovial, and this is like the first 2 weeks. And the first 2 weeks, you can kind of screw around, do whatever you want, and it's not really going to affect your grade. But that third week, you better make up for those first 2 weeks because the information starts from a trickle and turns into a oh my god avalanche of data. And there's so much data that even if you spent those first 2 weeks really trying to learn everything they're going to teach you in those first 2 weeks, that's going to pale in comparison to what you're going to get in week three. There was so much data in week three. We went from having 20 slide decks in PowerPoint to 50, 60 slide decks. So it's a vast exponential growth of data. Um, you can start seeing people cracking under the pressure, especially the people who live alone. Uh, they're so isolated, and I'm one of them. I'm gonna be honest with you. My situation's a little bit different, but uh, every day you go to school, you wake up, you come home. Once you come home, you realize your house is empty. You are an army of one. And yeah, there's some people who form study groups. In my term, they didn't want to do study groups, so everyone was like, doing better on my own. It just depends. The term above us, they're all about the study group. So again, it just depends on where you're at mentally. I can tell you that I've had my days where I come home and I just sit there and I'm like, what the hell's wrong with me? Why do I feel like I don't want to be in my own apartment? Uh, and the simple answer to it was because it's empty. uh, I'm the type of person I'm used to having people around, whether it's family, whether it's friends, coming in and seeing that there is nothing there. Uh, and it also makes it a little bit tough because you wake up and you see beautiful scenery, and again, the study guilt stops you from going out there. And at night, I cook my dinner and I watch the sunset from my dining room table. It's gorgeous, but there are days where I'm like, hey, I'm lonely. So I've been very lucky because I have a very good support system. Um, I have people that I can always reach out to and say, hey, I need someone to spend some time with for, an hour or 2 hours, whatever the frame of time is. Uh, I've been very lucky where almost every single time I've been able to text somebody and be like, yo, let's hang out. Uh, you get to a point where um, you kind of say, I need this and I need that. Then you reevaluate it and say, I don't need this and I don't need that. And it's always a balancing act. It's always a balancing act. Um, you're going to meet so many different people from different walks of life while you're in school. The rest of your life, you're going to see people like that. And you have to really decide, you know, what can I give and what can I take in all of my relationships. Uh, a good a good story about that is, um, when I first got here, I learned that there were so many little secretive relationships happening, and there were people who were dating people who were dating other people who were dating other people. And then there were people who were sleeping around with this person, that person, this person. And then there were those people who we're in yet another group of people who wanted to do these things. They wanted to have love. They wanted to have that feeling of closeness with somebody, but they just didn't feel that they hit the mark. They didn't feel like they were attractive enough or they could get the person that they had their eye on. And being that we're all from such different backgrounds and cultures, what you think you are is not what other people see you as. Um, Let me give you an example, okay? Um, and this is going to probably sound really weird, but bear with me. If you look at yourself in the mirror and you honestly take a look and you say, out of 10, what do I rate? Most guys will tell you, I'm between a 2 and a 5, no matter what. Now, where I come from is LA. Everybody wants to be movie ready, or at least the vast majority do. They want to always look their best. They really care about presenting their best self. In general, this is general. I'm not saying everybody does this. So in LA, maybe I am a 4. Maybe I'm a 3. I don't know. Uh, but here on the island, I'm a 10. Here at school, I'm a 10. And the reason I'm a 10 is because I have a lot of experience in life, probably more so than most of the students and the faculty have. I'm not saying I know more, I'm just saying I've done more. Both good, bad, and ugly. Uh, Here where I am, there's not a lot of people who do the level of strength training. So, to them, I have a fantastic physique, and I just don't see it. I've spoken to some of my peers here about, how they see me. Not that I really care, but I'm just curious. I'm a curious dude. And one person actually told me that, they've never seen anybody like me, that um, a lot of my behaviors and how disciplined I am, how I even keep my place clean, is just something that they haven't seen, and it actually makes me more attractive as far as my rating. What does this translate to? Nothing. It is all relative. Um, People will overemphasize some things, the delimiting factors. So, religion, that's a big one. Relationships and religion. A lot of people here, if you're not the same religion, you're automatically not acceptable. Though there are many people who, year after year after year, get married, have different belief systems, and live very happy and fulfilled lifestyles. Um, your boy is short. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm 5'7" on a good day, and being that I'm 5'7" on a good day means that most people are taller than me, and most women, they just don't like short dudes. They want somebody taller than them. That's just a fact of life. It is what it is. Move on. Not so fast. So here, while you're in med school, those physical qualities that people look for in your day to day, those don't necessarily exist. It's about your intelligence. It's about how are you doing in school. It's about, um, are you really giving us the best person that you can be? Are you caring? Do you want to make sure that the people around you feel safe and comfortable? Now, I do the best I can. I try to make sure that everybody I come in contact with hears positivity. I try to make sure that no matter how crappy I'm feeling on the inside, how much I look at myself in the mirror and I don't like what I see, or how much I'm beating myself up for taking that nap that ended up being 2 hours and I thought it was going to be 3 minutes. No matter what's going on in my life, I try to present myself in a way where I always have a smile, I'm always ready to go learn, and I'm always saying things that are boosting people so that they feel better about themselves. And I noticed that even in my group of friends, they're starting to do the same thing. There's nothing that you can't do in the eyes of my peer group. Even the ones I don't hang out with have started to change how they're presenting themselves and how they're talking to people, and it's now really supportive. So you have to decide when you're looking for love here in med school, you need to be careful because people's opinions, they do matter. How people view you, it does matter. Everything you do is going to be judged. Everything you do is going to have some sort of backlash to it. You could be with this person, you could be with that person, you could be in a relationship with this person, you could be in a relationship with that person, or many people, whatever you choose, but there's going to be a group that will judge you based on that. The last thing that I'm going to say for relationships is if you're in med school, have two conversations. One at the beginning of the relationship, sit down, be honest, get everything out on the table, and talk about breakup. Because most likely, the relationship you have while you're in school, it's not going to last. So, have a breakup plan. Sit down, talk to each other. You know, one of the big things that I tell my friends when they come to me or my peers and they say, "Well, I'm interested in this person. How do I do this?" I tell them same thing. Sit down, talk, let them know how you feel, be honest and open, and then say, if it doesn't work out, can we at least be cordial to each other? Can we have a conversation? And it doesn't necessarily have to be awkward. It's gonna be awkward, but eventually that'll go away. You guys will move on. You'll grow apart. This is just the way it goes. But while you're in school, it's one of those things where you really need to pay attention to how you treat other people, how other people are affected by your behaviors, and how you're affected by the other person's behaviors. The person that you pick should be very supportive of what you're doing. They should be there when you're having your hard times and your good times, just like you should be there for your hard times, their hard times, your good times, and their good times. Lastly, if it does come to a breakup, don't break up during test week. Okay, I know that seems weird, but you are with somebody and you have the potential to ruin their career. You have the potential to devastate them so much that they won't perform. And while I understand the need to end a relationship, sometimes it just needs to happen because it's just unhealthy for everybody. You have to think beyond the relationship and understand that what you're doing can really impact somebody in a very negative way. So be mindful of what you're doing. Make sure that you're not causing people to do poorly in school. Um, and at the end of the day, we all just want to help each other. We all just want to succeed. Each one of us wants to graduate and get those initials after our name, get that title, and you're starting your life no longer so and so, but now you're Doctor So and so. Keep this in mind. And for those of you who are watching this YouTube video who are not in medical school, have no idea what medical school is like, understand it is extremely hard. I've gone to college 6 times now. I have a master's degree, I have a bunch of degrees underneath that. those seem so easy in comparison. The raw amount of data and the expectation that's placed on us, it's very difficult. And I'm not one to say anything is ever difficult, but this is different. So just keep in mind that your behavior could dictate someone's future. And lastly, how do you know what you're ready for? And this is a very difficult question for me to answer because everybody's different. You know what you can handle, and you know what you can't handle. Again, for me, I'm the type of person that likes to have people around. I feed off of their energy. I like waking up and there's somebody there. I've had to get used to sleeping in an empty home for the first time in 16 years. Um, Not having anybody there. Actually, it's the first time in a lot longer than 16 years, but not having anybody there, waking up feeling lonely, waking up knowing that the rest of the day when I come home, there will be nobody there, learning to even cook for just one instead of like 10. It's totally different. Um, Personally, am I ready for a relationship with somebody at school? I don't know. Just like everyone else. I don't know. You don't know. Maybe you do know. And if you do know, hats off to you. You're better than I. If you don't know, welcome to the club. There's always room for one more in this club. If you are ready, just make sure that you take your precautions. Make sure that you are in a healthy relationship. Um, Medical school, it's not cheap. It is very expensive. Most of the students here are laden with debt, and that stresses them out even more. Again, pick a person, talk to them, let them know what your struggle is, let them know that you're trying to have, a relationship with that person. It can be a friendship. Let them know, hey, I need a friend. I need someone I can rely on. Let them know what your needs are. One of the things that people have always told me is that, how do I fit in your life? You're so independent, you really don't need me for anything. And while that's true, I never looked at a relationship as saying, I need you for this or I need you for that. It's really always been, I want you for this and I want you for that. I want to wake up and I want you to eat breakfast with me. Terrible example, but the mindset of I need versus I want. I've always been a very self-maintaining individual. I have always been put in a position to do things myself and not to rely heavily on the other people that are around me. And there are a few people that I do absolutely rely on. Um, they know who they are. I'm not going to call them out on this video. Um, what I can tell you is that to know what you're ready for, you need to take a real sobering view of yourself and say, what can I not handle if I do this? And once you know what you cannot handle, you can figure out what you can handle, and then you can say, I want this and I want that. And then you'll have more power in your decision. Lastly, who can you turn to? Well, who do you trust? The people that you trust most are going to be the ones that are going to listen. And when you go to those people and you want to have time and let them in on what's going on in your life, be honest. Tell them if you just want them to listen. Tell them if you want them to give you advice. Because it's human nature just to advise, say, oh, I hear this problem, here's how I'd fix it. And sometimes you don't want to hear that. Sometimes you just want to hear, I'm listening to you, I acknowledge you, I understand you have a problem. Be honest. You know, some people turn to their family, some people turn to friends, some people turn to strangers, some people turn to lovers, some people turn to former lovers. It depends, everybody's different. But figure out who you're going to trust with whatever you're going through. And then if you do trust them, tell them. You know, be honest about it. There's no problem that you have that can't be solved over time. So, with that, I'm going to call it into our video. If you have some comment that you want to put on, post it below. Try to keep those comments, you know, related to the video. And let's see what's going on in everyone else's world. So until next time, I love you. Be good to each other. We'll see you soon.